All right, everyone, welcome back to another Draft to the Future player updates. This is Ryan here to talk about my Week 10 player updates. So, starting right away with Clev Lubin, he created a lot of pressure, but he definitely struggled in some coverage this week. It wasn't necessarily his best game, but he was definitely still a problem in the pass rush. He did have a 31.6% pass rush win rate, which is, again, just absurd. He's one of the best players in this draft, in my opinion. Now, Isaiah Nokobia out of SMU, they had a really big win. I thought he played better than he was graded, but I think the reason that he may have been graded so poorly is because he had quite a few missed tackles, which he had three of. Um, and he also struggled a little bit in coverage. With allowing 5 of 7 catches. But watching the game, it looked like for the most part he had a pretty solid game. Cade Klubnik, back from his injury, and he had a really nice game. He was accurate and decisive. He put up nearly 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. Um, his team lost, which was kind of wild. I think he's gone too far down to get his reputation back up. But I think he's going to be one of those guys that goes in the middle rounds and could end up being a solid long term average starter in the league. Now, the next guy, D'Angelo Pons, I actually got to watch live in person, which is really cool. My family got some free tickets from VetTix to go see the Indiana game, which was great. And he did not disappoint. He pretty much stayed on Maryland's 6'3" wide receiver the entire game. That's him giving up 6 inches of height, and he never gave the kid an inch of space. They only targeted him once, and he did not make that catch, and it was for good reason because he had that kid locked down the entire game. I'm honestly very bullish on him, and I think he's going to have a very long, solid career in the NFL. I'm expecting him to go round 2, round 3, but I think he's going to be a guy that whoever ends up drafting him is going to be very happy. Whit Weeks, LSU, they did not have a game. Dante Corleone with the Bearcats. Um, man, the Bearcats was a letdown. They got smoked. Um, but Dante Corleone, he looked tired, like the whole game. He didn't have much rush, and he was ran all over, which that's supposed to be his thing, which is run stopping, and he did not do that. Um, Honestly, he's a guy that I wanted to come out last year, even though it was a down year. And I honestly think this season has been kind of a worst case scenario for him in terms of his NFL prospects. Um, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him go late day 3 now. Now, that doesn't mean that he's not going to have a good NFL career, but it's just one of those things that I think he's lost himself some money this year by coming back. Darius Taylor, running back out of Minnesota, did not play. I didn't really see anything in the news about the injury, but I'm assuming that's what it is because he missed last week after hitting his head, so I think it was probably a concussion. Joe Royer, tight end out of Cincinnati, he caught his one target for 10 yards, but he was used a ton as a blocker because the O line was struggling against Utah. He was very solid as a pass blocker, and he was better in the run game than he has been, but still wasn't that great. So in terms of flashy stuff, it wasn't a great game for him, but he did contribute as a blocker. Um, Eric McAllister, TCU, they had no game. Um, Taron Tayo, the interior offensive lineman for Cincinnati. Um, so the Cincinnati tackles just got cooked the entire game. But the bright spot of the offensive line was the interior line. They did well as a whole. They did struggle against the run, and that was the same for Taron. However, he only allowed one pressure in 35 pass blocking snaps. It was definitely one of his better games. Um, Brian Parker the second, Duke. They had a big win against Clemson, but it was from a grading standpoint his worst game of the year. Um, and I'm not surprised though because he was on the field a long time against a very good defensive line in Clemson. Nearly 75% of the snaps were in pass pro, and he only allowed 2 pressures, so that's really good. But the parts where he struggled were in his run blocking, where it became evident. I think this was one of the first games where I watched him, and I was like, yeah, I can see him being better on the inside because he was struggling a little bit from the run blocking against those speed guys on the outside. So Mark Gronowski, quarterback out of Iowa, they did not have a game. They have some big games coming up, so it'll be interesting. They ended up being ranked higher in the college football playoff than I was expecting. So he's going to get a little bit of attention if he can turn things around. David Bailey, good old David Bailey, Texas Tech edge, 5 pressures, a sack, and a QB hit. Didn't miss a tackle. He currently leads the entire FBS in total pressures and sacks. There's not really much else you can say about him. He's just continuing to show out every single week, and he's going to be a first-round pick. John Michael Gillenborg, tight end out of Wyoming. He was able to get a little bit involved in the passing game again this week. 3 of 5 targets went for catches, and he got 26 yards. So he had a little bit of success. Again, it's been a pretty disastrous season for him overall, but this was a little bit better in the right direction. And then my bonus guy here, Gideon Lamprey, I'm going to speak on him a little bit. BGSU, their offense struggled a ton, but he did not. He finds the ball and makes plays so well. I really love watching him play because he's just got such an eye for where the ball's going to go. He did have some tackles for a loss and a couple pressures. I honestly think he is a guy that I hope a lot of people add to their summer watch list for my fellow Twitter draft analysts this summer, because I think he's a guy, despite his lack of height, I think he's a guy that can go in and have a successful NFL career. So I hope more people get eyes on him because I think he can have that impact at the next level, despite the physical limitations. But that's it. Coming up in the next few weeks, we've got some videos where we're going to be talking about potential players that should look to hit the transfer portal. We're going to be doing our predictions for all of the bowl games when those are announced in December. We're going to talk in a couple weeks about our shadow teams as well and where they are in the season. We've had some unfortunate injuries, so that'll be a little upsetting. But that's what you got on the coming in the future, and we're always going to be looking at other ways that we can make more content for you all. So be on the lookout. As always, like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.